This week, Kamala has been comparing her political opponents to the most evil mass murderers in history. And now speaking on a call for her campaign last night.
Global attention has been focused on the aftermath of Donald Trump's re-election as President of the United States in 2024. Amidst this backdrop, another significant development is taking shape: a plan for joint naval drills between Iran and Saudi Arabia in the Red Sea. This may sound improbable, but the Iranian Navy has confirmed this development, underscoring its strategic importance. The proposed military collaboration between Iran and Saudi Arabia is especially significant given the traditionally strong ties and long-standing cooperation between the United States and Saudi Arabia. The news of this development has taken many by surprise, as it represents a potential shift in the regional geopolitical landscape. Adding to the surprise is a recent high-profile visit by a top Saudi general to Iran, where he met with his Iranian counterpart to discuss potential military collaboration. This meeting strongly suggests that the proposed joint naval exercise may mark just the beginning of an expanding military relationship between Iran and Saudi Arabia. On Sunday, November 10, 2024, Saudi Arabia's Chief of Staff, Lieutenant General Fayed bin Hamd al-Ruwaili, arrived in Tehran for discussions with his Iranian counterpart, Major General Mohammad Hossein Baghir. This visit represents a significant step in the evolving relationship between the two nations, focusing on enhancing defense diplomacy and expanding bilateral military cooperation. During their meeting, General Baghir emphasized the importance of increased security collaboration and extended an invitation for the Saudi Navy to participate in Iranian naval exercises in the coming year, either as participants or observers. In light of escalating tensions between Israel and Iran, which have seen both sides engage in missile exchanges and targeted strikes over recent months, this move takes on critical importance. The potential cooperation between Iran and Saudi Arabia could shift the balance in the region, potentially promoting stability or recalibrating alliances in response to heightened regional tensions. Before delving into the details of this naval exercise, it is essential to examine the historical relationship between these two countries, the recent improvement in their ties facilitated by China's diplomatic efforts within the BRICS framework, and what we know so far about this landmark military cooperation. Historical relationship between Iran and Saudi Arabia. The diplomatic relations between Iran and Saudi Arabia were formally established on August 24, 1929, with the signing of a friendship treaty in Tehran. In the ensuing decades, both nations maintained a generally cordial relationship, concentrating on internal stability and regional peace. However, the 1940s witnessed a strain in their relations, notably following the 1943 incident where an Iranian pilgrim was executed in Saudi Arabia. This event led to a suspension of diplomatic ties until 1946. The 1960s marked a period of renewed cooperation, as King Faisal of Saudi Arabia and Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi of Iran collaborated to promote Islamic solidarity, culminating in the establishment of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, OIC, in 1969. This initiative aimed to foster unity among Muslim nations and address common challenges. Additionally, both countries played pivotal roles in founding the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, in 1960, reflecting their shared interests in stabilizing oil markets and coordinating petroleum policies. This era of collaboration was characterized by mutual visits and agreements, including the 1968 Boundary Agreement concerning the delimitation of the boundary lines separating submarine areas between them. The 1979 Iranian Revolution profoundly altered the dynamics between Iran and Saudi Arabia. Iran's transformation into a Shia Islamic republic under Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini introduced a theocratic governance model that stood in stark contrast to Saudi Arabia's Sunni monarchy. This ideological divergence intensified mutual perceptions of threat and competition throughout the 1980s. This rivalry was evident in the Iran-Iraq War from 1980 to 1988, during which Saudi Arabia, alongside other Gulf states, provided substantial financial support to Iraq, aiming to counterbalance Iran's influence. Estimates suggest that Saudi Arabia contributed approximately $25 billion to Iraq's war effort. Beyond the battlefield, both nations sought to assert their leadership within the Islamic world. Iran's revolutionary government actively promoted its model of Islamic governance, encouraging movements in countries with significant Shia populations. In response, Saudi Arabia intensified its propagation of Wahhabism, investing billions in religious institutions and educational programs globally to counter Iran's ideological reach. This period also witnessed proxy conflicts, with Iran and Saudi Arabia supporting opposing factions in regional disputes, further entrenching their rivalry and shaping the geopolitical landscape of the Middle East. The 7 Hajj pilgrimage witnessed a tragic incident where clashes between Iranian pilgrims and Saudi security forces resulted in the deaths of over 400 individuals, including more than 200 Iranians. This event severely strained relations between Iran and Saudi Arabia, leading to the severance of diplomatic ties in 1988. In 1990, following a devastating earthquake in Iran that claimed approximately 40,000 lives, Saudi Arabia extended humanitarian aid, signaling a willingness to mend relations. This gesture paved the way for the restoration of diplomatic ties in 1991. The election of Iranian President Mohammad Khatami in 1997 marked a significant shift toward reform and regional cooperation. Khatami's administration emphasized dialogue and sought to improve relations with neighboring countries, including Saudi Arabia. In 1999, Khatami made a historic visit to Saudi Arabia, the first by an Iranian president since the 1979 revolution, underscoring a mutual desire to enhance bilateral ties. During this period, both nations engaged in diplomatic exchanges and signed agreements aimed at fostering cooperation in various sectors, reflecting a concerted effort to move beyond past hostilities and build a more collaborative regional relationship. The 2003 U.S. invasion of Iraq significantly altered the Middle Eastern geopolitical landscape, leading to the establishment of a Shia-led government in Baghdad. This development heightened Saudi Arabia's concerns over Iran's expanding influence in the region as Tehran forged strong ties with Iraq's new leadership. The Arab Spring uprisings that began in 2011 further intensified the rivalry between Iran and Saudi Arabia. In Syria, Iran provided substantial support to President Bashar al-Assad's regime, while Saudi Arabia backed various opposition groups seeking his ouster. In Yemen, Iran was accused of supporting the Houthi rebels, a Shia-aligned group, whereas Saudi Arabia led a coalition conducting military operations against them. Tensions escalated dramatically in January 2016 when Saudi Arabia executed Sheikh Nimr al-Nimr, a prominent Shia cleric and vocal critic of the Saudi government. His execution sparked widespread protests in Iran, culminating in attacks on the Saudi embassy in Tehran and the consulate in Mashhad. In response, Saudi Arabia severed diplomatic ties with Iran, marking a significant deterioration in their bilateral relations. These events underscore the deep-seated sectarian and geopolitical tensions that have characterized Iran-Saudi relations in the early 21st century, with both nations vying for regional dominance through direct and proxy engagement. In March 2023, Saudi Arabia and Iran surprised the world by restoring diplomatic ties, with Chinese mediation. This marked a hopeful shift, with both countries reopening embassies and beginning to engage in talks on security and stability in the Red Sea region. While optimism remains cautious, particularly regarding conflicts like Yemen, this rapprochement signifies a potential turning point in the long-standing rivalry between the two nations. China's decision to mediate talks between Saudi Arabia and Iran was driven by several strategic, economic, and diplomatic motivations. As the world's largest oil importer, China has substantial energy needs, and both Saudi Arabia and Iran are key suppliers. Stability in the Middle East is crucial for China's energy security, and fostering peace between Iran and Saudi Arabia reduces the risk of regional disruptions that could threaten oil supplies. By facilitating improved relations, China aims to secure reliable energy sources and maintain favorable trade relations with both countries. The mediation also allowed China to showcase its growing diplomatic influence on the global stage, particularly in the Middle East, a region traditionally influenced by the US and its allies. China's role in brokering the agreement between these two rivals demonstrates its potential as an alternative global power that can foster dialogue and peace. The Middle East is a critical region for China's Belt and Road Initiative, which seeks to connect Asia, Europe, and Africa through infrastructure and economic projects. Stability in the region would facilitate smoother trade routes and protect investments, especially with Iran and Saudi Arabia positioned along key BRI corridors. Furthermore, China's mediation reflects a strategic move to counterbalance the United States' influence in the region as the U.S. recalibrates its Middle Eastern policies and reduces direct involvement. China has seen an opportunity to step in as a stabilizing force, gaining both trust and leverage in the region. Rear Admiral Shahram Irani recently highlighted that Saudi Arabia has proposed a joint naval drill in the Red Sea. Each country has also extended port visit invitations, signaling an intent to strengthen ties. Plans are in motion to hold meetings to finalize the exercise details, which could promote stability in the region and serve as a confidence-building measure. If conducted, this would be the third instance of Saudi-Iran military cooperation. In 2018, the two nations participated in a joint exercise in the Indian Ocean known as the Coalition of Friendship. More recently, Saudi Arabia joined an Iranian-led drill in the southern Persian Gulf. The proposed exercises hold particular significance given the escalating tensions between Israel and Iran. Recent missile tests and drone strikes from Iran have increased speculation of potential Israeli retaliation. This cooperation between Iran and Saudi Arabia, newly normalized after years of rivalry, suggests a strategic shift toward regional stability that may ease the likelihood of a larger conflict. For Iran, these drills serve as a display of military capability, sending a message to Israel and other nations. For Saudi Arabia, balancing relations between Iran and Israel is key, as instability threatens its oil-based economy and regional influence. Iran's navy relies on asymmetric tactics to counter regional and Western powers. Its naval structure includes both the regular navy, known as the Islamic Republic of Iran Navy, IRIN, and the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy, IRGCN, which focuses on the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's naval forces prioritize flexibility and deterrence, utilizing fast attack boats, mines, and anti-ship missiles with a variety of ballistic and cruise missiles. Submarines, such as the Fateh class, and unmanned systems also feature prominently in Iran's naval strategy. In contrast, the Saudi Arabian Royal Navy is supported by modern technology from Western allies and operates dual fleets in the Gulf and the Red Sea. Saudi forces emphasize air defense and surface combat capability, with advanced vessels like the multi-mission surface combatant and Avant 2200 corvettes. Iran and Saudi Arabia joined BRICS in 2024, a move reflecting their intent to engage in cooperative economic initiatives alongside major oil producers like Russia and China. Their inclusion in BRICS signals a shared interest in reducing dependency on Western financial systems, and for Iran, a path to mitigate the effects of international sanctions. BRICS membership aligns with Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030 economic diversification goals and provides Iran with investment opportunities. Both countries see economic interdependence within BRICS as a stabilizing force in their diplomatic relationship and a counterweight to regional tensions. The proposed joint naval exercises between Iran and Saudi Arabia, facilitated by the recent restoration of diplomatic ties, represent a significant geopolitical shift in the Middle East. This development, which has unfolded against the backdrop of Donald Trump's re-election, has the potential to reshape regional dynamics and alliances, with far-reaching consequences for global energy security and the balance of power. As the two nations seek to navigate their complex relationship, the success of this military collaboration will be closely watched by the international community. The ability of Iran and Saudi Arabia to put aside their long-standing differences and work towards regional stability could have profound implications for the future of the Middle East. Thanks for watching till the end. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like as well as a sub so more people can see this.